Good morning, guys. All right, look, whenever you're coming into your manifestation, it's always a process. And the process is being frustrated, being angry, being doubtful. All of those things can exasperate the resistance of pushing it away. When we push, look, okay, the universe is pretty simple, man. It's a game. It's all about resisting or allowing. Those are the two fundamental forces that drives how we create our reality. Two fundamental forces. Am I resisting or am I allowing? In other words, am I attracting or am I repelling? And it goes to simple science. I mean, when you look at you, who you are as a human being, you're more of an electrochemical being. And it goes to show you further evidence that your awareness, the true version of you, is not the I or the self. You're the being. You're a higher dimension of conscious spiritual being. You're always spiritual first and then physical. Always remember, the physical aspect of who you are is an illusion. The true grandest of who you are is a spiritual being. Look at your consciousness. If we hook up an EEG to your head, your consciousness or the mind and all that stuff is not in your brain. It's all around you, man. So everything is around. It's around. It's around. Hey, how you guys doing? And I think one of the keys to help you to create what you want, we have to learn to amplify our frequency. Amplifying your frequency is one of the biggest keys, and I think we don't do it. So amplifying your frequency, it means changing your lifestyle. You have to start to live a different lifestyle. So what does amplifying your frequency mean? It means doing things to your mind and body that will elevate your vibration, that will make your life feel good. Such as what? Meditation. Such as what? Spending more time outdoors, grounding yourself. Mindfulness, affirmations, diet, sleep. All of these things amplify. Laughing, smiling. It's about amplification, because we already are vibrational beings. We're constantly putting stuff out to the universe, and it's a life change for a lot of people, because what happens is the majority of us, we have been encapsulated into a matrix system of life. That means every day we're inundated with negative programming. There's so much stuff feeding our subconscious mind. Look, you know, the two most powerful times for you to do your work is right before you go to bed and right 2 hours when you get up in the morning. That's the time your brain is in this theta state where it takes all the information. So most of us, when we get up in the morning, we turn our social media on. And the thing about the social media stuff, man, when you try to find the good stuff, it's like rare. There's always this fear, negative stuff. And let me teach you about what fear and doubt is. In actual reality, this is what we call reality, right? Fear and doubt doesn't exist. It's a conceptualization, an internal dialogue, an internal perception of a mind. It's a learned process based on repetition through another fake or false thing, which is the time concept of the past or the future. And what makes it even worse is that we are a collective subconscious. Because we're a collective subconscious, you're going to pick up other beings' negative loop. You don't think thoughts, you receive thoughts based on a vibrational frequency you're at. I mentioned that before. So when you have a doubt or fear, it's basically the mind glitching. It doesn't know. It doesn't exist. If you understand that I am the being, the watcher, I'm not the self, I'm not that person. Our reality is always already perfect. It is what it is. And if you start to approach that, that's when your perception changes. All stuff is about perception. How we perceive things is what comes in and changes our life, right? Hey Mark, can you touch on what and who is the Ascended Masters? The Ascended Masters are beings that were here before you and I. They could be from other dimensions, they could be from other planets, they could be from other universes. Well, the thing I understand, guys, is, and this will perplex your brain, There's not just one universe. There are multiple universes. Matter of fact, there's infinite universes. There's not only one you. There are infinite copies of you having their own spiritual or experience apart from you. But yet, we are all connected. You see, the consciousness of who you are is on a fractal. What is a fractal? A fractal looks like a hologram. If you take a piece of the hologram, every piece of the hologram has the whole of the hologram around it. So if a hologram has pictures and stuff, take a little piece, it's all encoded in that. Take a fractal of you, you're all encoded in the universe. So ascended masters were beings like you and I, maybe lived on different planets, maybe lived here thousands of years, and because they've ascended and moved on and they're in different dimensions and different beings, they can instill knowledge and understanding to you. Remember, there's nothing new under the sun in this multiverse, because we've done it all over and over again. When it comes to time, like in the grand scheme of the universe, our existence is, we haven't even been here 1 second in the infinitesimal time of the universe. It's really hard to fathom. You can't fathom the infinite of what we call time, and then you have to understand that what time is just one moment of continuing over and over. But in other words, whatever your experience, whatever you go through, it's always temporary. It's just one. It's not even a second. So we're not even there. Nobody even notices it yet. And with little things like that, it can definitely help you to put things in perspective. When you put it in perspective, it changes the frequency. It's all about changing the frequency, man. Mark, this is Sassy Sweetness, says, Mark, I dreamt about a place I stay in Jamaica this morning. Talking to a close friend, they're at the same place. Oh, that's good. Maybe planning on going to Jamaica. So, you know, when it comes to your desires and all that stuff, you have to, there's things that can stop it, man. And these are the fear, the doubt, and not believing in yourself. Those three things create a lot of resistance. And when you can, the more you can get resistance out the way, the more you can get allowance to come in for you to create and manifest your world. The big lesson is this. People, you guys got to understand this. Watcher of my thoughts. Not the thoughts of my thoughts. Not the I of my thoughts. Not the me of my thoughts. None of that doesn't exist. Okay? The watcher, the observer, that being that resides in your physical, perceived physical body. And that's the power it can have. Someone asked me how to get rid of resistance. That's a great question. Okay, the greatest volume of resistance resides in the unconscious mind. It's not in your ego. Your ego has resistance, but you are aware of that and you can fix it. The problem or the issue is where you can't see the resistance, and that's in the unconscious mind. So someone asked me, the best way to get rid of resistance is to go into the unconscious and change the beliefs you have about your self-worth. Self-worth is tied to resistance. Any type of resistance you have, it comes down to one factor. Self-worth. Am I worthy of this? Am I deserving of this? It always comes down to resistance. Have nothing to do with anything else. What happens is it comes from one singularity point, and that's the self-worth. And that self-worth will mask in other areas of your life, in the financial areas, in decision making, in procrastinating, all these areas. And you'll say, well, it's because I'm procrastinating. Oh, it's because I'm just not good. No, it's because if you trace it back to the beginning of you, you see that it was something that was put into you that you didn't deserve it, or you're not worthy of it. And all of that comes to that. And look, if you go deep, this is what the universe is showing you. The universe is showing you that you deserve it and you are worthy of it. Because if you deserve it and you are worthy of it, it comes to you easily. Just like if you convince yourself you're not deserving or worthy of it, it comes to you easy. What you don't want comes to you easy, and what you do want comes to you easy. So the point I'm showing you is that you have to understand that you are the source, the watcher of the reality. Not particularly the creator of the reality, because reality is just there. You're more the perceiver, the perception of reality. The perception of reality can bring stuff into your field. And when you do that, it's going to tremendous. Someone says subliminals are one of the top best ways for you to change the frequency, the amplification. We don't talk about amplifying our manifestation. If people spend more time amplifying, then they'll get more in. You know, everything is sound, man. Think about a sound. When you amplify the sound, you hear it more, it attracts more, right? Your body's like a tuning fork. Our bodies, they work in like rhythm and time and everything. If one system goes off, everything goes off. So it's like this perfect mechanism that's running. Remember, your body's made up of electrochemical signals, water, all these processes, brains, electricity, magnetism, all this stuff, and they're finely tuned, right? And when you get out of alignment, or you get out of that tune, then everything goes off. The signal doesn't come in properly. You get mishaps. So if you're experiencing when you're manifesting stuff and it's like up and down, it's because you're off tune. So you gotta get back to tune. You gotta amplify your body or your frequency. Amplification, I repeat it again, is what, man? It's about lifestyle change. You have to do things now that's going to tune it, like raising your vibration, laughter, sun, nature, watching things that make you positive, anything that gives you what you call hope, or the mind of present, whatever. Presentness, being in the moment, is the most powerful amplification tool you can use to release resistance and allow abundance, or whatever you want to come. The present, that's where it all happens. And I was talking to someone the other day, my clients here, and I was talking to her, and I was showing her, I said, look, you can only do one thing in this moment, despite what your mind is telling you. Okay, if you're a person, like you have a busy schedule, you have projects, something, your mind will start to shoot all these things at you, what you got to do tomorrow. Oh my God, I got to do this tomorrow, I got to do this next week. But when it's shooting all that, it feels like you have to do them right now. It makes you feel so anxious and feel so pressured and feel so down. But if you can only stop, and just look around and appreciate and sense everything in this moment, you'll see that none of that stuff isn't happening to you right now. It's there, but it's not now. It's a simple perception of that. And the more you do that, the more you become present, and the more you can create, the more you can get things in. Because the thing about the ego is, the ego knows death is coming. The soul knows there is no death coming. There is none of that stuff. Infinity energy cannot be created or destroyed. So because the ego knows that death is coming, it has to spend and race a lot of time. And this is why the ego puts time concept in all of your minds. Mark, how can you tell if it's your ego speaking to you or your higher self? Whenever the higher self speaks, it speaks as unknowing. Whenever the ego speaks, it speaks as someone who thinks, someone who can logicalize, someone who uses different judgments, someone that's put in different categories. When the higher self speaks, it's knowing. When the ego speaks, it's guessing, it's percepting, it's logicalizing, it's hypothesizing, it's thinking. Those are ego tendencies. Higher self will never do that. Your true self, if that is what you are. The watcher or your higher self knows. Point blank. So think, I mean, to each his own. Each person here, think in your life. When you met someone that you just know something, and you ask them a question. When you ask them a question, because they know it, they told you, all right, and you never refuted it, because you just know, like, damn, this is true. You just know. You know, but when you ask someone else something, and they don't sound sure, and you got to start to question it, that's ego. So, and those two voices are always communicating to you. They're there. You have to learn to separate the watcher from the me, the I. The I is the ego. The being is the observer, the watcher, your higher self. Yep, someone just says, wow, just stopping and, yes, just stopping and realizing it. Your mind will automatically come back to this moment. Guys, think about this. Just think about this for a second. When are you aware? Now. When are you ever aware? Right now. Even in your mind, when you're thinking about next week, Friday, tomorrow, whatever, when are you doing it? And when are you aware of doing it? Now. So Friday, tomorrow, it doesn't exist. It's in the mind. Only reality that exists is what's going on in this moment. And if you want to get deeper on it, when Friday comes around, when are you aware of Friday again? Now. You're never aware of Friday physically until it gets here. It's not in the head, it's an illusion. So all of that stuff just boils one point. Your brain does a very good job of deceiving you or hallucinating your reality to make you think that that's what it is. It's always now. Whenever it happens, it's going to happen right now. It's not going to happen tomorrow. And I give an example of this. I used this before. I said, if I could prove it to you, to show you that you can only create anything now. You can't do it in the spot. If you pinch yourself, right now, go pinch yourself. Boop. When do you feel that stimulation? Now. You can't feel it tomorrow. You just manifested something now. The cells, the nerves, they send signals to the brain and you feel it. So that's like how you pinch yourself now. That's the only time you can create. That little understanding can change the whole game. Do you think it's possible to find lottery numbers through astral travel? Of course, man. I mean, guys, look, realize we occupy membranes of multiple universes, membranes of infinite realities. Where there's a reality where you win the lottery and all that. You can jump in that. That's what I do. You know, this week alone, I just mentioned it. I think this week alone, I just had some tickets here. I got a 5,000. I got a 5, 6. I got one 5,000 with claimer, two $1,000 claimer. Plus, I got some other tickets at like $700, $800 and all of that. How do you think I did all of that stuff? And I just bought one ticket every time I go. I don't spend like. How do you think I do all that stuff? I tell you how I don't do it, and I don't go by the odds, and I don't buy 5, 6 tickets. I go with one ticket each time. Think about that. I don't play odds. I don't play probabilities. That's a different universe. That's a different world. I don't live there. I live in a knowing, a specific, a higher self, a directive, a point. Show me, guide me, intuition. Right hemisphere of my brain. I shut down the left hemisphere of my brain. And the same thing with lottery. Now, numbers I get, Fantasy 5 wins, Play 4 wins, Top Scratch Off wins, whatever, anything you want in your life. I go into a different reality, a different multiverse that's happening in this reality. Because all and everything is only tied to one awareness. You can only be aware one time. Even though there may be multiple copies of you, those multiple copies have separate experience than you, but they are still tied by the cord of consciousness. And for the advanced ones, those are the ones that could connect to their future, we call future self, because they can escape the 4th dimension and go into the 5th dimension. Let me put it to you like this. Whenever you're winning lottery and getting numbers, you're in the 5th dimension. Whenever you're doing great stuff in your business or manifesting things going in your life, you're in the 5th dimension. When you're in the 5th dimension, you don't have jealousy, you don't have envy, you don't hate, and you don't do self-comparison. If you're experiencing any of that, you're still in 3D world or 4D world. You're still there. But if you're not experiencing any of that, congratulations, you are a 5-dimensional being. You have escaped the physical construct that binds us in this matrix. Now you are aware. So repeat that again, because it's so important. When you're a fifth dimensional higher consciousness, there is no self-comparison. There is no envy. There is no jealousy. There is no hate. There is no judgment. With everything, people, situations, all that stuff. And it's a deeper one. When you're in the fifth dimension, here's this one now. When you're in the fifth dimension of consciousness, you realize that you are nothing. Think about that. When you're in the fifth, now this may go over some people's heads. Repeat that again. When you're in the fifth dimension of consciousness, you realize that you are nothing. That is the most powerful state of being. And let me see, can anyone tell me why? Because I'm going to shock you right now. Hey Anish, how you doing, my friend? Let me tell you how to get to the fifth dimension. To get to the fifth dimension, you have to detach from the self. That means there's no more self-comparison, there's no more jealousy, there's no more envy, there's no more hate, there's no more judgment of anything and everybody. Even your own self, you don't even take yourself serious. You don't have this personality. You don't have these ways. You don't have these, whatever you want to call them. Now, when you're in the fifth, you realize that you are nothing. And when you are nothing, it brings you everything. What a perplexing thing. Wow, right? What a phenomenal thing. I wonder if anyone can tell me what it doesn't mean when you are nothing. So I'm looking through the comments here. Oh man, someone got it right here. Let me take my glasses off because I gotta read this. This is Kakim Malakov. Hi, yes, Hakeem, let's expand on that. He says nothing is everything, which is absolutely correct. So let's expand on that. I'm gonna show you something. The universe came from nothing. True nature of reality is nothing. You know what nothing is? Nothing is transparent things that you can't see or perceive in your physical sense. It's nothing. It's energy that's transparent. So when I go back to being nothing, I automatically become entangled with everything. That means I become entangled with the materialistic stuff that I want. If it's money, success, I am now a part of that. And all that stuff has no choice. Listen, it literally has no choice but to rush to me, because I have resistance. Is impossible to exist when you are nothing. And if I don't have any resistance, listen, it's impossible for resistance to exist if I am nothing. I take off the veil. I take off the thing about feeling pressure. Anything you feel, living up to all, whatever expectation people put on you. When you drop all that veil, your whole life change. Everything comes to you. It's a fundamental law of the universe. This is, that's it, man. I always say this. What does this guy mean? Nothing is everything. So I always strive to be nothing. Don't get it twisted now. When I say I strive to be nothing, I'm speaking about a conscious, perceiving awareness level. I'm speaking about just infusing myself within the universe as a part of the universe. I'm speaking about escaping the self that I have in my mind, escaping my program that they told me my name is Mark Cotton, I live this, da-da-da, I'm that. I am none of that. I am the being observing the fake person that they gave the name Mark Houghton. I am a being observing that was given by my matrix society and government, by my mother, my father, whatever they named me. I'm aware that's not me, but I'm observing that as I'm going on this journey of conscious enlightenment. That's all I'm doing. And so when I can tune, I can go into Mark Houghton, then I can get out of Mark Houghton. I I go to Mark Harton when I have to do regular stuff, but I get it. But I know who I am. I bet most people don't even know who they are. You go ask them a question, who are you? Oh, my name is Jack Sullivan. My name is Stacy Joseph. I'm a graduate. I'm a PhD student. Oh, I'm making 50,000. I'm making 100,000. I'm a sports athlete. I'm all that. No, you're not. You're not. You're none of that stuff. And let me tell you something. If you think you are, you're stuck. You're going to be in a 3D, and you will never be able to reach enlightenment, and you will never be able to reach your full potential. That's what they want. There's a taboo going on right now where it's not good, or it's basically a taboo of finding out who you are. They don't want you to find out who you are. That's a taboo about it. Hey, you can't let these people know who they are, so let's distract them. Let's create the circus. Let's create the social media. Let's create the sports. Nothing's wrong with those things. I watch sports, but because I am nothing, I'm aware of all this stuff. None of this stuff gets me tied into it now. You see, the thing, guys, we get so much attached to the ego. You know, the ego is created by the Matrix. How do I think ancient Egyptians built the pyramids? I believe the ancient Egyptians built the pyramids because they had help from higher beings. Look at the tribe, the Dogons. They're a tribe. They knew the entire solar system 200 years before we had telescopes. And telescopes verified. They know where all the planets were. They know the Sirius star system. They learned mathematics. That's documented. People, you got to wake up. There are other higher intelligent beings. We live in a multi-dimensional. We live in a membrane of a universe. We're in a parallel universe. As a matter of fact, now physicists are saying our universe is entangled in a black hole. They're saying black holes give birth to white holes, which give birth to universes. There is so much things going on that some people aren't aware of that, and their brains can't process that because we have a conscious, egotistical mind, which we're tied into a lot of stuff. Now, look, I don't care if you don't believe this stuff. I don't care if you don't, whatever you don't think. But I can tell you one thing: you cannot refute what the calculations and the science and the equations, and they're telling us, and we know these things work because we do verifiable lab experiments. You can't refute that. So I don't care whatever your mind is telling you, and your mind is saying, oh, this is a bunch of crap, I don't believe all that stuff. That's fine. But just because you don't believe it doesn't mean it's not happening, and it's happening right now. So you're either gonna get on board, or either you're gonna stay down. That's the point, man. And if you don't believe me, go ahead and try it for yourself. Test it out. Maybe one day you wake up and you say, damn, that guy was so right, man. Damn, the minute I left the self and I got into the being, my whole life changed. Don't cost you anything. If you know, you know. What's your take on Nassim Haramein? Oh, that's a great physicist. He knows the secret. He's a physicist that shows that we are fractal. Nassim Haramein is a physicist that shows that in space is filled with what's called 0-point fields of energy, and within space, it's plenty of energetic particles, and within your atoms and your body, all the information of the entire universe is actually encoded in your DNA. He brought that out. Think about that. I keep telling people, you're a fractal. You know what a fractal is? Let me teach you what fractal means so you guys understand. It's science class today, all right? We do a little science here. Let's talk about fractal. And I said it before, but maybe there's new people coming on this live. So let me give you the easiest way what a fractal is. So remember those little holograms you get in the cookie jar? You take them out and you put the hologram. You see maybe a horse running around and behind the hologram. Okay, that's a hologram. Okay, if you cut a little piece of the hologram out, let's say you cut a little tiny piece where the horse is and you left a big hologram. If you take that little piece of the horse and you put it down and you look under the microscope, you'll still see the whole thing. That's a fractal. That means every piece you take out contains the whole on it. So is our consciousness. So is our universe, so is the cells, so is your DNA. So you are a fractal of the entire universe. This is science. We know this. This is not like a philosophy. And the thing is, like the Veldics, the Buddha knew this, tribes knew this, Dogons knew this. So many ancient tribes and civilizations knew this stuff before modern science did this. You know, if you think about it, man, before religion came into existence, people and these tribes automatically knew they were attuned or connected to the universe. They just knew that they were a part of something. Is when religion came in, they shut that off and says, okay, there's this guy that lives in the sky, he's going to judge you. And it threw them out of whack. They go to the Amazon now, they still find tribes that hasn't been contacted by humans in 200 years. And these people go in there and they ask and these tribes, they don't have no religion, anything, but yet they talk about one with the universe, one with consciousness. You see what I'm showing you, people? This stuff is plugged into you before you came here. When you got here, you were contaminated. I want to lose my identity and become aware, but I'm scared of uncertainty. Then you're tied to your ego. Uncertainty is a part of the ego. There is, my friend, reality is uncertainty. Uncertainty is the true nature of reality. There's nothing that you can ever precisely predict. It's a calculating going all around you, man. But the beauty is, it's okay to be uncertain, because from uncertainty can create pure bliss of certainty perceived, because from uncertainty you have control of what direction you want to go to. So if you're someone that's in uncertainty and someone in fear, you're still tied, you're still in the matrix of the ego. You have to learn to just let it go and let it flow, man. I'm still doing that. I'm not telling you right now it's perfect, because there's times you're going to come in, but it's all about the quality you put in versus the quantity you put in. Greeting from Chile. So you see how this stuff is working, right? Once you can tap into this stuff, you don't need any more techniques. Let me tell you something. The point when you are manifesting or creating your life, you don't need techniques. You are the technique. When you approach that fifth dimension of consciousness, techniques don't exist. Visualization doesn't exist. Affirmations doesn't exist. What exists is knowing, and you become that thing, and you just immediately think, immediately expect, immediately know, and it comes into your reality. That's the true nature right there. When you are the technique itself, you're not doing the technique, you are the technique. Everyone's designed to do that. You can do that right now. You just have to disassociate from the self, from what you've been attached to your whole life, because that's what's giving you the problems. That's what's giving you the depression. That's what's giving you the racing thoughts, is because we've been conditioned to be competitors, to be comparers, to be judges, to be jealous, to be envious of each other. We've been conditioned to hate on each other. We've been conditioned to put social classes with each other. And that spoils your ability to tap into your true consciousness of fractal. Point blank. The ones who get it are the ones who know they are nothing. They don't take themselves seriously at all. They laugh and they joke. Whatever happens in their life, they just go with the flow. Think about it. What's happening now is meant to happen. It's going to happen. Otherwise, you wouldn't be experiencing it right now. Whatever's going on in your life is just unfolding in a way that's just happening. So, that's it. People say to me, man, I want things to be perfect. It's not perfect. Reality is already perfect. There's nothing to fix. The only thing to fix is your perception of it. Whatever's happening is happening, man. You can't stop it. What are you going to do? This moment is happening right now. Alright? Thoughts about ringing in the air before you go to sleep. They could be downloads. It could be very sensitive to the electromagnetic waves. Now we have our Wi-Fi signals now. All these things are very sensitive. It could be a lot of stuff, man. It could be nerves. It could be ear problems. But most likely, if you're like very spiritual and highly attuned, when you get ringing ears, you're tapping into a different frequency. My coach gets mad at me for smiling when bad things happen on the court. That's a perfect example of how the Matrix twists people up. Yeah, that's good. See, you're on the right path. When you could smile at what perceived bad or smile at perceived good, that's when you start to neuroplasticity change your mind. Think about your brain, man. Your brain is very good at adapting. Your brain is looking for what you consider important, and what you consider not important. And what the brain looks at is what you're focusing more often on. Whatever you focus more often on, your brain decides that's what you want, and that's what it's going to create and generate in your reality. So when you become nothing and accept that everything just is, and you don't see good or bad, you just see things as, of course you're going to feel good, get excited. When we call it the bad stuff, you laugh it off, you don't take it seriously. Your body and the brain adjust, man. That means less stress. And if the brain sees that, wait, this guy's seeing more good except bad, the brain can create that, because reality is a perception. We create this stuff. We create it in our minds, man. All right? Do crystals help? Somebody asked me, do crystals help with spirituality? Every spiritual person, or every person that's doing manifestation, I got here. Okay. Every person that's doing manifestation gotta have crystals. Listen, you gotta have something like this. Amethyst. You got to. If you don't, you don't know. Because let me school you on crystals. And this is not hippie, esoteric. Let me show you the science of crystals. Let's go into the world of physics. Let's take your phone, your tablet, your computer. The screen on this phone I'm talking to you. Liquid display quartz. LCD, one of the most popular quartz crystals. These crystals, if they don't exist, electronics couldn't exist. Phones, computers, I don't know where they would source this material, but it would be impossible, because the thing about the crystals are, they are cool. They take heat and they dissipate it. They are great conductors. That's why your phone gets cool. That's why your computer don't blow up in your phone, because when it's all this power that's generated, it goes to the crystals. And what cools your components so they can run is if we go into the atomic structure of the crystals. So atoms are these little particles always jumbling, moving up and down, like this, right? Energy, like this. Looks going like this, right? Crystals, they don't go like this, people. Listen to this. Everything else in the entire universe, the plant, the tree, the rock, if you go in a electron microscope and you look at the atomic particles, they're all going like this. Do you know when you go in an electron microscope and you look at a crystal, any crystal stone, do you know what you see in the atomic particles? You know what they look like? They are called a lattice structure. Lattice. So in other words, in layman terms, when you look on an electron microscope at crystals, the atomic particles are arranged symmetrically in perfect lines like this. It's like they're standing next to each other. That symmetry, or that lattice, is able to conduct energy and dissipate it. That's why crystals are powerful. Now imagine if they do that for electronics. Imagine what they do for your body, man, because you're the same. You're an electromagnetic being. Now certain crystals have certain properties. Pyrite, citrine, amethyst, green aventurine, jade. So you have to know, okay, you got to know to tune your crystals. Okay, what do I want? Do I want protection? Do I want alignment? Do I want money? By finding the crystals that do that, you could look up whatever crystals that, some of you are good at crystals, you know the meaning. And then you wear your crystals, man. That means every day you're out, your body is in tune. You're always a tuned person. You are a tuning machine, just like energy. You have to tune in and out, in and out. And of course, you get crystals, you got to make sure you cleanse your crystals. So that's just to give you some game on crystals that people may not be aware of. Okay? So when you see someone with a crystal, that person is very smart. They know a thing or two. See how that works? There's a lot of stuff you're going to learn and unlearn. But it's unfortunate, though, you have to unlearn the stuff you learn. Because when you unlearn it, that's when you find true truth and freedom and the truth. Most people don't want the truth. Most people are tied to their story. Their ego is so strong, they refuse to see the possibility that it could change their life. Money crystal will be green aventurine, citrine, those type of crystals. Maybe some other people could put some more stuff in there. But yeah, crystals, man, very powerful, man. They help to conduct and get you in alignment. That just took my crystal game next level. Yes, there's something, I don't know if people, they don't teach this stuff, but it's truth, man. Sages, teachers, they've been wearing crystals thousands of years because they already knew the power of this stuff. You don't necessarily, somebody else, you have to have high vibration. You don't necessarily have to have high vibration. Everybody don't have, but you can get your vibration high, and that's why you do these things to raise your vibration. That's why you amplify them. One of the best ways to amplify your vibration is getting some crystals, man. Find out which ones recommend for you. Depends on what you want to achieve. There's all crystals for that time. Find a blend, wear them, and you'll notice a difference. Right? You notice a difference. But it's good to know these things, and it's good to understand that you can create. And then the secret again, guys, remember, it's a very simple game. I'll make it simple for you, right? It's about resistance and allowance. The more you can get out of resistance, the more you get into allowance, and the more you don't have to do techniques. Things just start manifest for you. How do you release? Someone asked me, how do you release attachment while manifesting specific person? Okay. Again, it comes to being nothing, to have the understanding that it's fine if I get this person, it's fine if I don't. You instantly release the attachment. The reason you have the attachment is because you think it's not fine if you don't get this person, something is wrong, you're losing. That's the attachment. The attachment comes when you don't care and you say, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. Boom! Congratulations, there's no attachment. Guys, the secret is this: to want it and don't want it at the same time. You know what that means? That's how you're gonna get everything. For me, I want the lottery and I don't want it at the same time. I want and I don't want it at the same time. Do you know what that means? That's the secret to manifest anything. I put it in layman's terms. It means I'm good if I get it, I'm good if I don't. I don't care. The universe always provides. He knows what I want and is going to bring it any means necessary. That's the secret. That's it. And with that, I'll talk to you again.